Obrigada, doutora Joana. E chegou agora o momento de saber mais sobre o STEM, com o STEM Women Annual Report, uma ferramenta essencial para acelerar a mudança e aumentar a eficácia. Após muitos anos de trabalho dedicado, o STEM Women Congress desenvolveu a sua própria metodologia, que é lançada hoje aqui em Lisboa. E por isso vamos ouvir Susanna Cabos, Presidente de Gestão de Dados do STEM Women em Espanha, que explicará esta abordagem, como ela contribui para a nossa missão. Desculpa.
Do you think, is there anything impossible? What do you think? Bon dia and welcome to the first STEM Woman Annual Report here in Portugal. Let me to make you some questions. Who created that? Do you know? Who discovered that? Do you know that? Who was working and really discovering almost that? Who performs that patent? Do you know that? And who is a real reference in artificial intelligence and robotics today? Do you know? All of these are Portuguese reference women. Your history, a history which impacts today in the worldwide history. Portuguese women can do, and in fact, they have done over the last century, great advance on the human being. And in STEM Woman Annual Report, in our SWAR, what we want is to increase the presence and visibility of the STEM woman to create a more diverse and inclusive professional environments and to close the gender gap that still exists today in STEM areas. So let's come together to look at how these 30 initiatives today are working in Portugal in the field to make that mission that we have in the STEM Woman Annual Report and in the STEM Woman Association, it's a reality here in the country. First of all, remember how we are I just presented last year, how we divided all of these initiatives. We have initiatives that they are much more in what we call inspiration. So they work from one age until 15 years old, inspiring, motivating the children, the boys and the girls, to be and to study STEM. And we have, on the other hand, all of the other initiatives that they are impacting from the 16 years old, so from the higher education until professional career. And we call career initiatives. So here, what we can see is that in the career stage is a priority for most of our initiatives in Portugal. In fact, if we divide it by segment, we have 15 of the initiatives that they are more on the inspiration, and 29, so almost all of them, they are today dedicated in career. And there is only one specific that is exclusively in inspiration. So we call here all the initiatives that today they are listening us and they have not participated on this annual report to come and to participate on the annual report for next year. let's go to this graph where we can see the impacts that all of these initiatives are giving in our Portuguese population. We can see here as the number of programs works intensively as the age of the girls and women is increasing. From secondary, so from the higher school, until the peak is given on the professional career, where we have the largest number of programs. Let's to go how they are split over all Portugal. What happens in Portugal? Where is the industrial area? Where is all the business? It's mainly into cities you have. Where are all the most of the initiatives today concentrated? In Lisbon and Oporto. This is also a reflection for everybody. Is it enough? Should not we cover also the gap that we have in other areas? We think that we need to cover all the areas in Portugal today. Because finally, it's to give also the opportunity to all the women and girls, okay, to develop and contribute in the Portugal's technology and scientific progress. Let's go in depth on the inspiration activities. If we go to there, what we will see, it's 1.26% is the impact today of these activities. If you remember, there were 14 activities inspiring girls and boys. Seems to be a low percentage, okay? But don't worry, this is a starting point. And as we did it in Spain since 6 years, that now we are doing the STEM Woman Annual Report, we are looking at the advance year after year, okay? So the percentage, it's good enough for the starting point, okay? Afterwards, we will see what does it mean. The initiatives participating on this segment reveals that they have a strong investment of public fundings. In fact, 73% they are taking from public and mixed fundings, while only 27% is coming from private. On the other hand, half of the initiatives has been created on the last 3 years. That means that there is really, I would think, a worry, okay, on the Portuguese society on creating these initiatives in the first ages of the children, when the stereotypes are really created on the child. The highest impact is recorded in the 8th and 9th stages of the education, with a total of more than 6,750 impacts, and where we can see that is the largest number of programs today that they are being implemented. But what we can see also in this graph is that we have a very extremely low percentage of programs dedicated on the first ages of the children. We have almost 4 programs dedicated from 1 to 6 years. Finally, I'm asking to these initiatives, okay, how you are working with the main actors, with our children. So they are working to break stereotypes. This is the first thing. And the second is empowering them. But also, they are working with the change agents. On this case, teachers and family. So on both cases, how they are working is to break also the stereotypes and also empower them, okay, to be with the initiatives together. What happens with career initiatives? Let's go. So let me first to come back and give you some data that I think that is important. You know that in Portugal, the average of female STEM graduates, if we compare with the rest of the Europe, we are over the rest of the Europe. The average on the rest of the Europe is 32.7%. Here in Portugal, we are at 37.8%. Do you know what is our neighbor, Spain? Let me to tell you, 27.7%. So, females are arriving to STEM. Not at 50-50, okay? So, we have a still journey to do, but we are over the average of Europe. On the other hand, there are more than 2.6 million today women in labor force, between 16 and 74 years. 109,000 of these 2.6 million are employed today to STEM labor. That means 7.2%. So remember what we were talking about STEM studies? 37.7. We have our now 7.2%. We have something that we need to solve. Okay? How these initiatives are working? So, in one hand, they are working on the higher studies also, and they are impacting with 24 programs directly on the higher, with 22.7% of impact. And on the other hand, 25 programs are working on the career professional to impact also the talent, the women talent that they are in the career, with more than 28%. If we go to the impacts, what we can see, we could see on the percentage that I gave you before, is that the talent drain, do you know what does it mean, talent drain? Brain drain? So how the talent is given out from the country is one of the recurring problems in STEM. And in fact, according to the latest published data, 20% of the Portuguese population has emigrated in 2023. That's 5.6 points more in the recent years. To effectively address really the woman in STEM, we need for sure to implement policies of work-life balance. But in addition, we need to establish and empower mentoring programs and also these kind of activities that could encourage the women to stay and to come to STEM areas. What we can see from these programs is that these programs are much more centered in female than in male, okay? We see also that the highest number of programs has been created, in fact, in the last year, and we will come in 1 minute. And in terms of fundings, we saw that the funding is coming more from private. To look at for the last year and what happened with these 8 initiatives that were created in 2023, let me to make just a small radiography. They are much more centered in female. They have born all of them in Lisbon. Remember the map that we were talking? They with highest private financed and focus mainly in mentoring. As a summary, in case of inspiration, we have a clear message. We have a gap, okay? We have a gap in the first ages of the children. And here we need to center a little bit more of activities. When the stereotypes are created, when you can really wake up much faster the inspiration, the motivation, what they can do with an engineer degree, with a scientific degree. In global, most of the programs, more than 70% today, are driven not by a company. They are driven independently. So here we encourage the change agents that they are the companies to empower, to leverage much more activities to give them power to the women to be in STEM areas. We're here in the harbor, and I see some boats outside. And I will ask you, would you imagine a boat made of paper that you could go with? Still not. Okay. But do you imagine a ship made of paper? They did it. A woman, a man. And this is a message also for the men. You are here to come in this journey, to stay with us, okay, and to take also your role and to empower, to have more girls and women in STEM areas. Do you think, is it possible? Yes, it is. Thank you very much.